Greetings, programs. This is Wretch. Welcome back to Vampire the Masquerade, Reckoning of New York. And in the last episode, guys, Patty witnessed the awkward reunion between Jessica and Kali, and he almost flew a bit too close to the sun himself with a tense meeting with Veritra. But we got through it okay, and now it looks like we have a flashback to a few days ago with Jessica here at the Circulatory Systems labs. So let's see what's going on here. You're fucking with me, right? Hey, don't shoot the messenger. I just figured you should know. I mean, he's your sire, right? Is that what you guys call it? Technically, yeah, but practically not anymore, thank fuck. I'd spit into the fucking void where God might have been for that blessing. But, Jesus. I thought you lot were only tailing him for his shady-ass deals. No. As far as I know, the Venture board doesn't give a damn about it. Benign stuff like that is just a blip on their radar. But deliberately jeopardizing the system supply lines? That's signing your own death warrant. Shit. Why the hell is he aiming for the SAD? What was he thinking going full undead Snowden like that? It doesn't look like he aimed for anything. He just left enough crumbs to pique their interest. You're thinking of tipping him off? Oh, sure, right away. Let me give him a call right this instant. What do you think, Nima? Fuck him. It's high time he choked on his own pile of shit. Wow. The friend. Well, let's go ahead and end the night. Going right into night 3. I guess with no side quests or anything, goes pretty quick. 5 nights till the new year. I will admit I did not believe Kali would actually turn up. I gave her the benefit of the doubt yesternight, but I'm fully prepared to launch a citywide hunt for her if the need arises. She left you, just like you left yours in London. So when her voice suddenly pops right up next to me as I lean against my haven's door, I am well and truly surprised. Hey there, pretty boy. You come here often? I look at her, relieved, before her words actually reach my brain. Do I come here often? What do you mean? It's my haven. I sleep here. She pouts, but laughs lightheartedly. You're no fun. One day I might understand her attempts at jocularity, but not tonight. I get into my car without further delay, and she hops in right after. Do you have anywhere you'd like to pop by before we pay D'Angelo a visit? Nuh-uh. No time to dilly-dally, right? Correct. She seems dejected for some reason, then delighted when I hastily take off. Of course she'd be a speed junkie. Fortunately, this is one predilection of hers that I don't mind indulging, insofar as the streets of New York allow me to. And this time, our drive isn't even that awkward. D'Angelo? You here? D'Angelo's haven, one I would be reluctant to call a bureau, no matter how much he insists, rarely ever changes. Sure, new papers and evidence come and go, but the essence of barely controlled disarray, shabbiness, and cigarette stink is forever fixed in place. Much like the trap door in the corner that leads down to wherever D'Angelo sleeps during the day, now flung right open. Even though the space is in chaos, it doesn't seem like anything is out of place, thankfully. With D'Angelo always sticking his nose where it doesn't belong, there's a part of me that's constantly worried about him, truth be told. Hey, Mr. Detective, a damsel in distress desperately needs your help. And then there's me. I roll my eyes. D'Angelo will be delighted with that morsel of noir convention, regardless of Kali's ironic delivery. Speak of the devil, D'Angelo squints at her as he emerges from beneath the floor, his lips moving silently, and I strain my ears to hear his commentary. They appeared like shadows, the kind cast by the worn-out hopes and dreams of this wretched city. Dreams that could only be saved by none other than Gianni D'Angelo. Kali scoffs, amused. Saved? That's a bit of a stretch, don't you think? He leans back over the rickety table, shaking his head as if to lodge the noir cliché stuck in his brain. Kali, a pleasure. Then he turns to me, a hint of a smirk tugging at the corner of his mouth. I nod at him calmly. Gianni. Padraic, looks like you're still losing your head, just not literally, huh? Indeed, the sheriff is yet to relieve me of my cranial burden. But worry not, there's still time until the new year. You might yet win that little bet of yours. Kali looks like she's about to vibrate out of his skin in excitement, so I try to snuff it before she explodes and completely derails our meeting. Anyway, we came here to find out how you two clowns know each other. Come on, give me the juicy details. Too late. D'Angelo shrugs dismissively. Well, he showed up a while back, pestering me about some anarch girl and her inner voices. Would you believe we clicked over what might just be the greatest movie ever? I still have some thoughts about the Maltese Falcon, which you didn't let me share before. But now might not be the time. But Kali, obviously, latches on to a different part of our conversation. An anarch girl? You mean, what's her name? Santa? Who got beheaded by the sheriff? D'Angelo's already ugly face twists into an even uglier grimace. Yes, D'Angelo. I hesitate, tossing him a cautious look. I'm not sure how much he'd like Kali to know about one of the darker moments of his past. Go on. I'm not one to dodge blame. I killed her. You did what a PI does. Tracked her down and brought her in. You weren't the one holding the blade that ended her suffering. Same difference. In a rare display of tact, Kali decides not to pursue the subject. I'd love to have a catch-up with you, Gianni, but we did have an agenda walking in here. A glimmer of light flickers in D'Angelo's shades as he turns toward Kali. Well, I hate to break it to you, but if you're here for intel on Castle, you're out of luck. No new lead since we last talked. Although Castle is indeed ever present in our quest, at this moment we're concentrating on a different matter. Namely, I had no idea it was physically possible to audibly roll one's eyes, but Kali somehow manages before she interrupts me mid-thought. Ellie Sansariq. Where do we find him, Gianni? D'Angelo narrows his eyes, squinting at us suspiciously, and fiddles with his e-cig. The serpent? What's your angle? What are you after? Look, if I wanted to confess, I'd hit up a fucking church. But hey, this is supposed to be a detective's office, right? So why don't you do what you do best and just give me Sansariq's contact info already? Seems somebody woke up on the wrong side of the coffin. Easy, Tiger. I'm just asking. Sansariq's bad news walking. Or crawling, depending on... Well. Kindly cut to the chase, Gianni. What are you trying to say? D'Angelo takes a long drag on what looks like an electronic cigarette, as if he's really trying to savor it. I once asked him if he actually makes an effort to engage his sense of taste, but he shrugged and told me it's just part of the scene. Sansariq and his serpents are gone from Harlem and nobody really knows why. I've got theories, but they're just that, so... Great. So we've just burned through our time with pointless chit-chat here, haven't we? Again. D'Angelo shrugs. Kali looks like she's about to walk out in a fit of rage, so I stop her in her tracks. We don't need to know why Sansariq left Harlem. Just tell us where to start looking. Yeah, St. Philip's in the vicinity of Morningside Park are your best bets. They're not far from each other. You might just dig something up there. Thank you, D'Angelo. Those are solid leads.
The faint whiff of sincerity in your bullshit makes it almost charming. I know they're not quite the Glengarry leads you're after, but hey, on these nights, beggars can't be choosers.
So, is this intel gonna cost me the usual 2 blood bags?
You keep your stash, kiddo. Just clue me in on where Sansariq's hiding once you sniff him out. And we're square.
His unpleasant mug suddenly stiffens. He straightens up and steps closer, eyeing both of us intensely.
Last time I warned you that shit's gonna hit the fan soon. That's old news already. It's way worse now. You can feel it, can't you?
I nod almost instinctively, catching Kali doing the same.
I'm bailing earlier than planned, and I strongly advise you consider doing the same. I won't sugarcoat it. I could use a lift, and you could use some level-headed advice on the road.
He looks genuinely terrified. Kali and I slowly exchange looks before shaking our heads. I can't. Not just yet. Things are heated, I understand. But at the moment Kali cannot leave, and I've been saddled with helping her in a way I can only describe as non-negotiable. D'Angelo sighs, slumping visibly, and waves his hand dismissively.
Well, in that case, you just keep your eyes peeled for trouble, alright?
Yeah. You too, pal. Until next time, D'Angelo. Hopefully, under a brighter moon.
Ugly, hideous fuck. Just like your insides, Paddy boy.
We're almost at the door when I hear his response, barely louder than a breath.
Bright nights are all gone. Only nightmares remain. I should write that down.
Kali and I come to a stop in front of my car. We should... Now, I already know the crap you're gonna dish out. No splitting up, Kali. I can't fully trust you yet, Kali. But listen, it's late as hell already, so we gotta hustle. If we both go chasing Sansariq in the same spot, all we're gonna catch is sunrise. We gotta divide and conquer. I concur. See, I knew you'd... Hold up. What do you mean you concur? I feel a smirk tugging at the corner of my mouth before I catch it. I agree that we have too much ground to cover, and since you kept your word and didn't flee last time, I'm giving you more benefit of the doubt once more. Or I'm giving you the benefit of the doubt once more. She just stares at me in confusion before erupting into laughter. I don't recognize you, man. Where's Stick Up the Ass Patty? Who's this loose cannon they replaced him with? Being replaced. An uncomfortable thought. One that's crossed my mind many times before. The voice and the voices taken over until all that remains of me is a cracked, outer shell. Patience, Vion. Time has yet to come. My fingers close comfortably over my ring. I can't think about it right now. I got a job to do. I tuck my hands into my pockets. Let's part ways for now. Do you have a preferred destination? Chasing Ellie at Morningside Park. Oh. So, if you remember when we did Kali's story, Kali went to Morningside Park while Patty went to the church. So, it wouldn't be out of the ordinary for the high priest of the New York's ministry to select an actual church as his nest. I should make my way there to look for any trace of Sansariq. I drop Kali off right at the edge of the park and then hurry off to search the church for any trace of Sansariq. Finding the place wasn't easy as I had anticipated. Even though I lived in New York for 2 years, I'm still unfamiliar with its less popular locations. Fortunately, once you found the right street, church can't be missed. It looms large, that huge rose window glaring down at a patch of land which in the warmer months is probably a vibrant green. Right now, though, it's just a dead white blanket of snow. I stare at the edifice, forgetting to blink in the face of its glory and then snap back to reality. I guess there's nothing to it. I just have to scour the place, brick by brick, cranny by cranny. The church is bolted up tight for the night, but that shouldn't be a problem. Kali's not the only one with clever hands. A couple of twists and some elbow grease, and that crusty old padlock snaps open. I was raised a good Catholic boy in a rigorously devout family, which means that even before my embrace, walking into a church or chapel evoked great ambivalence. On the other hand, I felt peace, comfort. The house of God was, by extension, my own in His literal mercy. On the other, I was crushed by the weight of my own sins, both the one I supposedly carry just by virtue of being born, as well as the ones I committed on a daily basis. The lies I told myself, to others, to my voices even, most of all. After the embrace, I was mostly apprehensive about holy places. If I set foot inside, would He smite me with the full force of His wrath? But nothing happened, and all my misgivings eventually died down to polite indifference. Holy places just became just places, and that was that. I spent many years as a mortal, pondering the existence of God, and then many more as a godless abomination. And I still have no idea. There's not a soul in sight, just swarm upon swarm of rats. I'm aware that they're unofficial mascots of the city, but this place is crawling with them. And these are some huge and fat specimens, bloated as kings. I proceed with caution, because I've already dodged a few outraged squeaks and attempted assaults on my ankles. Vermin aside, the church is well and truly empty. Even the crucified Messiah was taken away somewhere, perhaps for the duration of the renovations. It takes me a while to thoroughly search the premises and confirm that Sansariq is indeed elsewhere. Honestly, it's hard to tell if he was ever here at all. After a few minutes of aimless wandering, I stumble upon a notice board cluttered with scraps of paper. Parish notices, holy pictures, and what looks like handwritten prayers. Keenly attuned as I am to the incongruous, or I've never been able to pronounce that correctly, sorry guys. The out of place, a single prayer catches my eye. Its paper unravaged by the passage of time. It stands out so glaringly that I have to gently pull it off the board and inspect it more closely. North of the heavens, His grand celestial shrine. Brother in the Lord, united by blood divine. Island blessed by His touch, where saints and angels shine. It's a peculiar prayer. I will admit that my knowledge of the Bible has waned over the many decades since my embrace, but these words do not ring any bells. Leave it. Leave it, lad. Don't let it muddle your thoughts. The paper's already safely tucked into my breast pocket before I realize it. Ignoring the voices, I raise my hand to my pocket when a legion of rats burst out of a crack in the wall, their incessant chittering filling the air. But what piques my interest is a trapdoor right next to the crack, its outline barely visible against the dusty flooring. Where could it lead?
Unimportant. Inconsequential. Leave it. Leave this place. Go, go, go.
I wince and spin my ring several times, willing a 20 to appear. When it does, I calm down and approach the trapdoor for a closer look. Sure enough, there's a small handle, but no lock. Just a narrow slit where the trapdoor doesn't quite fit right. The slit's so narrow that my fingers barely fit inside, but once they do, I discover it's been bolted shut from the inside. Who managed to lock it so securely? And how? The hell are you looking for? Hands off, you Irish bastard! My musings are interrupted by faint voices drifting in from outside. They're distant, so I can't judge if they're a threat or just some mortals on a late-night walk. No matter. The trapdoor and whatever's behind it seem vastly more important, or is that just Kali speaking? Curiosity killed the patty. Overcome with a torrent of unnatural curiosity, I find myself grabbing the trapdoor before I can even finish a thought. It yields to my monster's strength as easily as soggy cardboard, and soon my grip is solid enough to simply rip the trapdoor off its hinges and fling it aside. My brain catches up with me at the very last moment, just in time to lower the trapdoor down more quietly onto the ground. I look into the yawning darkness beneath. Perhaps it leads to the crypts or some other intriguing underground parts of the church. Not that it really matters. The narrow passage is jam-packed with corpses. They're in various stages of decay, and they've all been gnawed on by rats. They don't look like anyone in particular, but then again, it's hard to tell with their flesh full of holes and tears. Some of them may have been bitten by a fellow kindred, with what looks like puncture wounds on their necks. These marks are well hidden, though, concealed among the countless rat bites. Circling somewhere at the periphery of my consciousness, the voices from outside grab my attention once more. This time they're louder, more urgent than in the vicinity of the vestry. Bollocks. I'm not keen on raiding around to find out whether they're actually hunters. The figures under the rose window seem to taunt me as I stride purposely to my car. I'm not one to take unnecessary risk, but running away without putting up a fight is not my modus operandi either. I haven't managed to find much in way of clues, but it'll have to do. I pull over to the meeting spot and see Kali sprinting towards me from a mile away. She throws herself inside and slams the door shut with far less grace than my car deserves. Go! Just fucking drive! Something awful must have occurred. I floor the accelerator, and within seconds we're tearing through the streets, the city a blur. What happened? Did you run into trouble? Just a deadly chase through the fucking park. Ran into some kindred trying to track down Sansariq. Someone named Wretch sent them. They were after a raven trickster too. Holy shit, you think they were talking about me? Well, feck. Of all the places in New York City, she just had to stumble upon Wretch's men. What are they doing anyway? Searching for Sansariq? They're going to get him, grind him, grave him, yes, yes, yes! Oh, shut up. Where's that 20 when I need it? Hey, did you even hear me? Yeah, sorry, I don't know, I'm just glad they did not catch you. She eyes me suspiciously. Pull yourself together, Padraic. I shake my head and shrug. It seems the park didn't have very much in the way of clues. Yeah, zero, zilch, nada. And you? Did you find anything at the church? Not really, only that there were a lot of rats running around, but I not believe Sansariq has the power to shapeshift into a rodent, so we should be safe. She laughs out loud. What kind of rats? Carnivorous ones. Someone has thrown a fair number of bodies into the crypt. I thought of checking the bodies for clues, but some unsavory types were milling around the church. I left early in case they were hunters. Yeah, that's the level of careful I'd expect from you. A little disappointing perhaps, but safety first, right? She waggles her eyebrows conspiratorially, and I return a pale smile. So, nothing interesting aside from, rats? I hesitate for a moment. Well, there was a prayer. I pull over and fish out the handwritten prayer I found on the notice board. Something's off, but I can't quite put my finger on it. Yeah, I guess. What do you make of it? I'm not sure. I just caught my eye. A clean piece of paper among all the weathered scraps. We read through it carefully a few times before it finally makes sense. I knew it couldn't have been a simple coincidence. Here, look at the beginning of each line. She leans in closer and I point at the words. North, Brother, Island. It's one of those islands in the East River. Fairly bleak spot which fits the ministry to a T when you think about it. We both sit in silence for a moment. Instinctively, I spin my ring a few times, searching for comfort in the familial gesture. So, this is our best shot, I wager. We should head there right now. Good, just get me the fuck out of here. Oh, brother. North Brother Island is a truly dismal place, which fits the Ministry perfectly, come to think of it. Hopefully we'll find Sansariq there instead of another red herring. When Kali and I reach the wrecked pier of North Brother Island and see the decrepit buildings nearby, I wince in disgust. My memories of my days on the warfront are no longer vivid, yet sights like these still invoke unwelcome sensations, as intense as ever despite the years that have passed. Thankfully, the ghastliness is ruined by the shiny new ribs moored along the pier. Some of them have clearly been used in the last few hours, judged by the mud and melted snow on the seats. But I'm more curious about how Kali has crossed paths with Sansariq. Just to make sure we're on the same page, what exactly is your connection to Sansariq? She seems apprehensive, as if scared that I will judge her too harshly, but in the end she acquiesces. So you know I deal on the, let's call it the darker side of the web, right? It has come to my attention, yes, but you seem keen on hiding it. She hesitates and opens her mouth, ready to launch into an explanation, but seems to remember that we're on the clock here. Or perhaps she rightly assumes that explaining it to me would be futile, and happily uses an excuse to change tack. Well, Sansariq was technically Reynard's client, but I was the one handling all the sketchy stuff he requested. Never met the guy or anything. Everything always went through Reynard, but Sansariq's the only client I know by name. Fine. You mentioned before that he and Castle had a relatively good relationship. How do you plan to exploit that? She snorts, and I'm unsure whether she's annoyed that I've caught on to her modus operandi or exacerbated about something else. I'm about to continue my gentle prodding when we're interrupted by gunshots. And they're getting closer. We duck down and observe as some guy comes tearing onto the pier, screaming his lungs out in terror. He's running backwards, tripping over every bump while desperately trying to shoot at something in the trees, unaware that his clip has been empty for a while. He's decked out head to toe in urban warfare gear, reminiscent of the hunters I had the pleasure of meeting a few times lately. He hasn't noticed us yet, blinded by his delirious fear. Perfect moment to strike. I glance at Kali and she's already looking at me, jerking her head toward the mortal. I assume she wanted to deal with him herself, but it seems I was mistaken. I take a beat to size the hunter up. And then I lunge without any further thought, reaching him in the blink of an eye and sinking my fangs into his neck. I don't consider myself a picky feeder, but by God, this hunter tastes vile. He's high on adrenaline, his muscles already burning with lactic acid from his panicked run. It's a weird feeling, the bliss of satiation mixed with the disgusting taste of my meal. I come to and see Kali watching me with ambivalence. All good? I carefully set the body down and wipe my mouth clean, grimacing in disgust. Yes, forgive me, but that was quite revolting. She laughs a little. All is forgiven. If those were Sansariq's ministers who pushed this poor bastard to the edge, I'm not exactly eager to meet him myself. I nod, looking at the lifeless body. The Masquerade behoves us to hide him, but nobody will come looking for him here. Ever. And time is of the essence, so I don't bother, and neither does Kali. We share a quick glance before sneaking cautiously through the thicket toward the ruins looming over the bare trees. Ooh, we are about to run into the followers of Set/Ministry once again, guys. So now we'll get to see that conversation with Sansariq through another set of eyes. I'll tell you what, this seems like a good place to call it, and we will see that meeting in the next episode. Hope you all have enjoyed it. If you liked the episode, please leave a like down below. Subscribe to the channel, leave a comment, that'd be a big help. And we'll see you next time. Later days, everyone.